Elena lived in a city that never slept, yet somehow never truly woke up either. Every morning, the same alarm rang at the same hour. The same gray light slipped through the same small window. The buildings outside her apartment looked like tall boxes, stacked without care, all wearing the same tired color. People walked fast on the streets below, heads down, eyes fixed on phones or worries. Elena was one of them. Her life moved in circles, like a clock that forgot how to stop. She woke up, went to work, answered emails, drank coffee that tasted more like warm water, and returned home when the sky was already dark. Her job paid the bills, but nothing more. It did not light her heart. It did not make her curious or proud. It was just there, like a long hallway with no doors. Sometimes Elena felt like she was standing still while the world rushed past her. Her days blended together, one after another, until she could not tell them apart. Monday felt like Thursday. January felt like October. Her dreams, once bright and loud, now felt folded away, like old clothes at the bottom of a drawer. She did not feel deeply sad. That was the strange part. She felt empty, quiet, and colorless, like a painting done only in gray. Then came a rainy Tuesday. The rain fell softly at first, tapping on windows like shy fingers. Elena arrived at work with wet shoes and tired thoughts. She hung her coat, sat at her desk, and prepared for another long day of sameness. But something was different. On her desk, right beside her notebook, rested a single red rose. At first, she thought it must be a mistake. Perhaps it belonged to someone else. Perhaps someone had left it there by accident. But it was placed carefully, not dropped. The stem was straight. The petals were full and open, like a slow smile. The red was deep and alive, not the loud red of traffic lights or warning signs, but a warm red, rich and soft. It looked almost unreal against the pale desk and gray walls. The rose seemed to glow in the quiet office. Elena leaned closer. The scent was gentle but clear, sweet with a hint of earth. It reminded her of something she could not name, maybe a memory, maybe a feeling she had forgotten. She looked around. No note, no name, just the rose. For a moment she considered ignoring it. Life had taught her not to expect surprises. She could push it aside, finish her work, and let the day continue as planned. But something inside her paused. The rose was small, yes, but it asked a silent question. So Elena picked it up. She brought it home that evening, carefully, like a fragile secret. She found a simple glass, filled it with water, and placed the rose near the window. It stood there, proud and quiet, as if it belonged. The next morning, Elena noticed the light before she noticed the time. The sun touched the petals, and the red looked even deeper, even warmer. She smiled without thinking. It surprised her. From that day, she began to take care of the rose. She changed the water. She trimmed the stem. She watched it closely, learning its shape, its curves, its slow movements. This small act, so simple, began to open something in her. On her way to work, she heard birds singing on a tree she had passed every day without noticing. Their sound was light and playful, like laughter in the air. She slowed her steps. Her neighbor, an older woman with kind eyes, smiled at her in the hallway. Elena smiled back, really smiled, and they exchanged a few warm words. The moment stayed with her longer than it should have. In the afternoons, she paid attention to her tea. She felt the warmth of the cup in her hands. She tasted the soft bitterness, the calm. It was the same tea she always drank, yet it felt new. The world had not changed. The city was still busy. Her job was still the same. But Elena was changing how she looked. Each day the rose reminded her of beauty that did not shout, beauty that simply existed. One evening, as she watched the rose gently move in the breeze from the open window, Elena felt a quiet question rise inside her. When had she stopped doing the things she loved? She remembered painting as a young woman, long nights with colors on her fingers, the joy of mixing shades, of creating something that came from her own heart. She had told herself she was too busy, too tired, too grown up. The rose did not speak, but it seemed to listen. Elena did not quit her job the next day. She did not run away to a new life. The change was not loud. It was careful, like planting a seed. She bought a small set of paints, nothing expensive, just enough. That first night, she sat at her table, unsure, afraid of being bad at it. Her hands shook a little, but she painted anyway. The colors felt strange at first, then familiar, then joyful. The rose was not magic. It did not force her to change. It did not promise happiness, but it gave her courage. It was a spark in a dark room, just enough light to take one step. As weeks passed, Elena felt more awake. She began to do small, kind things for others. She left a note of thanks for the office cleaner. She helped a stranger carry groceries. She brought cookies to work and shared them without reason. These acts were small, like petals falling one by one, but together they changed the air around her. People noticed. Conversations grew longer. Laughter appeared more often. One connection led to another, like roots spreading under the ground. The single rose had become a garden. Elena understood something important. Beauty grows when it is shared. Kindness does not get smaller when given away. It becomes larger. Years later, Elena stood in a garden filled with color. Roses, sunflowers, wild plants of every kind moved gently in the wind. The air smelled of life and patience. She touched the soil, warm and real. She thought of that rainy Tuesday, of a single red rose on a gray desk. Everything had started small.
She smiled, knowing that growth does not rush. It waits, and it begins the moment you choose to see. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of your own rose, then take a moment to support this channel. Please like